So let's just settle into our meditation posture. So I've been rumbling on about this since 6 o'clock in the morning our time, but for those of you who haven't been here, if your feet are down on the ground, make sure they're in a parallel position, have some kind of support underneath your feet. And otherwise, if you're sitting in the regular cross-legged position, you could put a couple of cushions underneath your knees if your hips and knees are quite tight. And definitely, we all need something under our sit bones because it really does help with the posture of the back. Hands in the meditation mudra, the right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. Shoulders are over the hips. So let's just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and out the top. You can imagine someone's very gently lengthening your spine. So if you've been weary today, if you've had a bit of a day, you can just let it all drop away and just relax while we do our Vajrasattva practice. Imagine some space in between the vertebrae and those discs as your crown heads towards the ceiling. And tip your head slightly forward and imagine you're looking down the length of your nose to a spot about 2 inches in front of you. If your eyes were open, tip the tongue on the roof of the mouth and relax the jaw. Now bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead. Let me just check the sound, sorry. Okay, that's better. And the nose and the eyes. And go to the back of the eyes and imagine there's probably quite a bit of tension behind there in our eye socket. Relax the nose, the cheeks. Hi Victor. Hi Jay, nice to see you. And the area around the mouth, and relax the back of the head, the scalp, and the occipital bone, the bottom of the skull. We get quite tight down there. So relax the neck and the shoulders, upper thoracic, in between the shoulder blades, and relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all your limbs, hands, fingers, feet and toes. We can get quite a bit of tension we hold in our feet and our hands, so just relax them as much as you can. Just notice the sensation of the air as you breathe in, so it's slightly cooler than when you breathe out. If there's any sounds in your external environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to have your mind distracted by them, particularly Anna, you're in a coach or on a bus driving up to Leeds, so there's probably quite a bit of noise around you. So just allow those sounds to be there. Keep the mind on the breath. And your mind. Things are arising. So there might be things coming up in your mind, any interactions you had today. Your mind might feel quite busy, so just allow those thoughts to run. Try not to engage with them, create a story. And they will calm down. And keep the mind on the breath. As we bring to mind the people of our life. So for some of you, this is the 3rd time you've done it today. Actually not 4th time you've done it today with me. So just think of the loved ones, your people who you don't like so much, who don't really like you, and your strangers. And again, remind yourself, remind ourselves. They're all the same. No matter how we feel about them, they're actually all equal. It's just our own perspective that categorizes them as a friend or a loved one or a stranger or an enemy. But they're all, we try and equalize our affections. It's not easy. But the way to start this is by thinking that they're all the same in their wish to be happy, their wish not to suffer, and this unbelievable capacity that people have for kindness and compassion and brilliance. All these qualities that we have within us that have always been there, that are the real you, and they're covered up by all this kind of junk, these delusions that we have, and these negative actions that we do, just layer upon layer upon layer of dirt. So what we're doing here tonight is to try and clean off some of that dirt, purify our negative karma. There's nothing that we have done that is so awful that we can't purify it. So keep that in mind. And we're doing this practice tonight for all the people of our life, by extension all sentient beings, and for ourselves as we move along the path to enlightenment. So first of all, the power of regret. So regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, perhaps in past lives. But think of something specific. Maybe just one thing that happened today, one interaction. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. So we experience everything, good and bad, due to our past karma, our past actions. So if we've caused a person or a sentient being to suffer, we will necessarily experience suffering in the future. Because we have quite a bit of experience with suffering, we all know what it is. We don't want to invite any more suffering into our lives. So therefore the logic is that we start to pull out these negative seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. So also regret the anger, all our delusions, anger, depression, anxiety, attachment, grasping, neediness, and wishing to harm, and resentment and jealousy, and all this kind of, this just muck inside our minds. And we just kind of accept it as a part of who we are, but actually it isn't who we are, and we can get rid of it. So we think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And first of all, we take refuge. We rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who has the methods that we can use to purify. So we're not asking him to forgive us. This is not like, asking for God to come and forgive us and release us of all our sins. It's not like that. It's quite different. It's almost like going to a doctor. You actually take refuge in your personal physician, or in Australia it's a general practitioner, or here in America it's a physician, your family physician, because they've got medicine that can heal you, so you go to them to ask for help. So it's the same here. So the Buddha, the doctor, Vajrasattva, has the methods that we can use to heal ourselves. So we purify ourselves by relying upon these methods. So imagine Guru Vajrasattva is above the crown of your head, about 2 inches above the crown of your head. And you can imagine this is your teacher, your guru, your trusted mentor, however you see them, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And Vajrasattva is made of radiant, blissful white light. He's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon disk. And he has this beautiful, radiant, youthful yet ageless face. Really pleasant to look at. And he's His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all sentient beings. And there's absolutely no judgment in his mind towards you. He just accepts you exactly as you are. He's meeting you where you're at. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot, and he's wearing the 5-pointed crown on his head. And it's kind of embedded with precious jewels, and he's wearing earrings and necklaces and a belt made of jewels and armlets and bracelets and anklets, and they're all very, very precious, made of gold, sparkling, embedded with diamonds and rubies, however you wish. And he's wearing these celestial robes, and they're sort of floating. All of this is made of light in the Royal Indian style. And it's covered in, he's wearing also scarves around his neck and arms. And he has this aura of light around him, around his head and around his body. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a Vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So the next little section is about developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So we rely upon the beings that we have harmed and develop this kind of really sincere wish for them to not suffer, for them to be free from suffering. And then we think about the people who have harmed us. And this is a little bit more difficult for us, perhaps, if we've experienced great harm from someone. So we just have compassion for them, because the suffering that they've caused us, the harm that they're causing us, the way they've disturbed our mind, creates sort of suffering for them in the future. It creates negative karma for them, and they will experience the suffering in the future. So have compassion towards them because of this. So I think I must purify for their sake, for all these people's sake. So the next is the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, the doing, the practice and recitation of the mantra. So first of all, we start with the body, purification of the body. And Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar. It's almost like coming out of a hose, and arcs around and enters your crown and pours into you, fills you completely, and it keeps coming and forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Supokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi, Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, Ha 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 Ho, Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Duda Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Supokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi, Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there is no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And the next is a purification of the speech, and Guru Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space. And as I was saying last night, I've heard many times in the past Rinpoche saying it's almost like it blows the hat off the top of your head. So it can be quite forceful. So it kind of pours out of the top of your body. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and the lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So the next is a purification of the mind. And imagine Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately now sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. And this light arcs around and pours into you through the crown of your head, and it just kind of melts into you and fills you completely. So you're filled with this bright light. So it's the same as when you walk into a room and switch on a light. It instantly dispels the darkness. It's the same here. So you can imagine the light enters you and it sort of hits your heart chakra, and instantly dispels all the negativity and all the darkness in the mind. So all the depression, all our delusions, the anxiety, attachment, grasping and neediness and jealousy and bitterness and wishing to harm, all of this kind of business is instantly dispelled by this light. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our suffering and the reason, the cause for why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified, gone. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss, compassion. So the next is a purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. So this time imagine Guru Vajrasattva sends light and nectar. And if you wish, you can imagine the previous 3 visualizations of the body, speech and mind. You could do maybe a couple of mantras for each one. Or you can imagine just light and nectar pouring into you from Guru Vajrasattva's heart, pouring in through the crown of your head. Again, filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempe Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa supokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa supokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa supokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa supokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa supokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe. So now feel you are completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. So first of all, really try and rejoice in the progress that you've made over the past year or so, doing this practice. And you may have noticed, you take a few steps forward, then you take another step back, a couple of steps back, one step. It just kind of goes like that. And, we are human. We're not infallible. So don't give yourself a hard time if you've been working on something and then something pops up and all of a sudden you've forgotten what it said you would refrain from, and it all kind of falls out of the mouth and maybe you hurt somebody. So don't give yourself too much of a hard time about that. Just keep pressing on and moving forward slowly, step by step, and make a promise to yourself that you're going to try and work on something tonight, between now and tomorrow morning, or maybe over the weekend, till we meet again on Monday. Could be something to do with the speech, something with your body. Just give yourself a doable timeline. So maybe you're going to give yourself, I'm going to stop biting my nails for 5 seconds. Give yourself a break and then say, well, okay, at between 12 and 5 minutes past 12, I will not bite my nails. So you're just retraining the mind to refrain from things that are harmful. Not that biting nails are necessarily harmful, it's just an example. So, Guru Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind. He melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE calls this union oneness. So next, Lama Zopa Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness of the 3 circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So place your mind in that emptiness for a little while, thinking, maybe looking at all phenomena as being empty, not existing from their own side. And then you can think perhaps maybe the way I'm looking at things, the way I'm perceiving things may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the positive energy and the merit we have created this evening by doing this purification to all living beings, thinking, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honouring the three jewels, savour of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request, O Lama, please live long. And for Geshe-la, beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequaled guide. Please live a long and stable life. Wow, we've done so many prayers and practices today, haven't we? Oh my goodness. Pat yourselves on the back. Thank you so much, everyone. Lots of love. Have a safe and happy weekend.